All signs point to this: a Chicago Bulls future All-Star being off the team. At this point, what is this front office doing? Hi, I'm Shaq Barnes here with another episode of Bulls Digest, the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls. And 7% of you guys have been watching the channel and have not subscribed yet. Treat it like the Bulls intro and run right through that subscribe button. Obviously today you're not hearing the excitement as it usually be in my voice because it is rumor season. A lot of rumors go around, and you can kind of pick through some of the falsehoods. But this one, and I wanted to make a video about this one because it's believable because of how our franchise have been over the years. And at this point, I'm getting to the point where I'm like frustrated because like something got to change. We have to do something different. But let's get into it. People around the league believe that either Coby White or Josh Giddey will be on a new team next season per HP Basketball. Mind you, keep this with a grain of salt because there's rumors and people he say, she say. But I know that I've been a Chicago Bulls fan my whole life. I have seen how this team has done things. And we moved a little different with the new management that came in, and it didn't work. So you know what I think we're going to go back to doing? What we was doing before then. But let's keep going. This is outside speculative, but two different East personnel figures believe that the Bulls are unlikely to retain both Josh Giddey and Coby White. If Giddey gets locked in, White could be moved. I'm skeptical of the idea because that sounds like a radical concept for the Bulls, and that doesn't sound like them. Saving money sounds like them, but not like this. See, the key words he just said. So it doesn't sound like them. That 100% sounds like the Chicago Bulls. It does. Saving money sound like the Bulls. So they're telling me if Josh Giddey get paid, they're not going to pay Coby White. That's what they're not trying to pay both stars. Maybe they felt cursed or burnt from the last situation with paying Zach and DeMar and it didn't work out. So now they're not trying to be tied up back in the same situation. Which this situation with Josh Giddey and Coby White is completely different, especially with the age of the players. They're younger. We brought three all-star players together and tried to make something happen. It didn't work. Now you got an actual team that's going to be built with a bunch of young guys. That's different, and give them time to grow and learn together. But no, we got to try to save money, guys. We got, Chicago Bulls way. But let's keep going. So, with the Josh Giddey point of view, because it seems like more like Josh Giddey is going to be the one who is safe because Josh Giddey is going to be the cheaper cost. So, Josh Giddey wanted 150. The Nets already came out and said they're not going to offer him the money up front. They don't want to sign Josh Giddey. So now the ball's in the Bulls' court to try to get a deal. They trying to offer him to maybe 120 to at least make him happy with the number that he's going to get, but he's not going to get the exact number that he wants. So the Bulls looking like, Josh Giddey is fine. So we going to pay him he's going to hoop with us. We going to get him at a low number. We're going to be good. But the Bulls probably come into play where Coby White. Coby White is ascending into a star. Which one is that? Go problem number one right there. But can Chicago risk keeping him? The problem with him turning to a ascending star is because next year is his contract year, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. So if you don't give him what he wants, he can walk for nothing. And that's where the Bulls come into play with the problem there. But, sorry. Coby White gave you 20 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists last season. Shot very good. His numbers was better after All-Star break during that time. But said, do the Bulls have a building block? White's there isn't a clear answer. While there isn't a clear answer yet to the question, White is currently the best candidate on the Bulls to warrant such approach. The hot name of late, Josh Giddey, comes with a large pattern of concerns in regards to spacing and off-ball implications. Giddey would need highly specific players around him for such experiment to even get off the ground. White is by far the easiest player to install in a role as feature players, giving that his skill set allows for much broader roster construction ideologies. Bulls rookie Buzelis can be used as a bit of a limited test as he can develop in various ways. The 6'10" forward is a solid shooter, but not overwhelming one. That shot may improve or it might end up being average. Furthermore, Buzelis has a solid on ball chops, and it's reasonable to expect him to become more of the ball handler as he matures. With his athleticism, there are a world where Buzelis becomes more focused on the interior to the point where his three-point shot is utilized more as a secondary or territorial weapon. And a point right there with the Josh Giddey situation, the Bulls not even looking at like, wow, Josh Giddey looks so good with Coby White next to it. So if you're not gonna put scorers and shooters around Josh Giddey and put the ball in the hand and let him run the offense, you're not gonna get your full potential or your full price of what you want for Josh Giddey. But yeah, no, let's get rid of the one guy he's really good with on the court. Now, but the question is, those questions and concerns like what are you gonna do with Coby White? White, who is on his sixth NBA season, is sitting on arguably the most team-friendly contract in the NBA at $12 million this year and $12.8 next season. When the league agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement, which is killing a lot of teams, with the NBPA, thanks a lot, CJ McCollum. It includes 20% point bump in extensions allowance, meaning players can now sign for 140% of his latest salary year instead of the previous 120. For players earning below the league average, the leagues allow for players to sign for 140% of the average salary as well to give teams and players a fighting chance if they're on utmost unrealistic small deals. And Coby White is gonna have an all-star year, guys. Coby White is gonna have an all-star year, and he's gonna want to get paid, and he's gonna want to get his money. But it'd be entirely unreasonable for the Bulls to expect White to accept a new extension this summer, which is based off the 140% extension number. Even if the league average compensates level becomes $15 million this summer, and the Chicago offer an extension at a number that would limit White to a starting salary of $21 million. That probably around 10 to 15 million less annually than what it was going to take to get a deal. You know what I mean? The Bulls would inevitably have to make a decision, either trade White this summer or let him enter unrestricted free agency in 2026. There are potential downsides and opportunities in both scenarios. Which that's what it's gonna have to come down to at some point, because if you're not going to want to pay Josh Giddey, which I said it sounds like, I mean, not Josh Giddey, Coby White, which sounds like how the Chicago Bulls are going to do because they're not going to pay him 30 plus million. They pretty much, I wouldn't believe they trade him this offseason unless somebody just offer us a deal that we cannot refuse for Coby White, because I believe he's our most valuable asset on the team. It will probably be some point during this season and at the trade deadline. So now we'll talk to the trading Coby White situation. Trading White, if the Bulls walk down the path, odds are good they won't get full return for their star guard, which obviously because he's going to be on a year deal. See it as any receiving team would immediately adopt the same contractual limitations the Chicago Bulls face while getting only one playoff year out of him before he becomes a free agent. Chicago could have moved White before the trade deadline in February and thus offered teams his availability for 2 playoff years, which in a strong likelihood would have given the Bulls a bigger return what they can get now. If White is traded, say, to Orlando this summer, the Magic wouldn't be able to extend him to a higher number, and they too will have risk losing him. And that's just really the whole point of, like, they don't want – it's going to be hard to trade Coby White because you don't want to risk losing him, and he's going to want to get paid this summer. And especially if he get traded to a different situation, now he's going to go to whatever team that can offer him the most money at that point in time. So the Bulls could possibly trade Coby White this offseason. Letting White enter unrestricted free agency. I'm not going to even read down the mess of all this. That would be a crazy idea to just let Coby White walk for nothing. The Bulls cannot allow Coby White to walk for nothing. If you're going to lose him, try to get anything for him if you can. That's point blank, period. And look at all those factors that came into play I can 100% like a lot of rumors that I've seen, like the Rudy Gobert rumors, um, us drafting the second round pick at the 12th pick. Those rumors I didn't believe in at all. But this one, it sounds like something that we will do, and it's something that we have done during this season. So if we gonna go full rebuild, retool mode, I would try to move up in the draft. Then if we go try to go get Harper or Ace Bailey, if we gonna lose out on a Coby White, or get more players for later on in the future of picks wise, and then add shooters, add another dynamic scorer. Or if you go get a guy, get a vet with an expiring contract to add him to the team, or take that contract for a team and then get some assets. So that's what I would want the Chicago Bulls to. But let me know what you guys think about this. Do you believe that Chicago Bulls are going to get rid of Coby White? Do you believe that the Chicago Bulls do not want to pay Coby White? And who would you rather keep, Josh Giddey or Coby White? Even though Coby White would be on a cheaper deal. It's Shaq Barnes, SB Talk Sports, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.